Hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar today entitled Promoting Food Safety and Family Meals, Your Best Resources. This is put on by a combination of the Partnership for Food Safety Education and the FMI Foundation. A few quick housekeeping things today. To ask a question, please use the question box on the right of your screen. After the webinar, you will receive a brief survey. Please fill it out to help us improve. Today's presenters are Susan Borra of the FMI Foundation and Shelley Feist of the Partnership for Food Safety Education. Sue Borra, RD, leads the Food Marketing Institute's FMI, short for FMI's Health and Wellness Initiatives, recognizing the unique assets of a grocery store, food, nutrition experts, and pharmacy, and food retail's important role in helping customers lead healthy lives. Sue is also Executive Director of the FMI Foundation, which supports research and education in the areas of food safety, nutrition, and health. Shelley Feist is Executive Director of the nonprofit Partnership for Food Safety Education. At the partnership, she is focused on delivery of evidence-based food safety information to customers, on developing networks of health and food safety educators, and on organizational development and effectiveness. I'd like to turn it over to Shelley Feist now.
Thank you so much, Tom, and I want to thank the FMI Foundation both for their long-running support of the partnership and as well for this great combined webinar, because I think we have a lot of interest in today's webinar, and I think it's because there's some terrific content and messaging for you all to use this September. If you're not familiar with the Partnership for Food Safety Education, we develop and promote effective education programs to reduce foodborne illness risk for consumers. We are a nonprofit organization, and we rely on grants and contributions. So let's go right into what you will learn today. I do want to highlight that CEUs are not being offered today, so you do not need to look for your certificate. Before I move into our sort of learning objectives, please take a look at the right side of your screen. We have 5 downloads. If you look under, if you look under handouts, there are 5 terrific handouts. Everything that we're going to talk about today, you can get right here by grabbing the handouts from the webinar. So today we're going to introduce you to 2 September events, National Family Meals Month and National Food Safety Education Month. You will also receive today direct access to tools for your outreach programming that encourage consumer preparation of safe and healthy meals at home. We're going to also ask you to share your successful strategies. Many of you have years of experience promoting nutrition, healthy meals, food safety. So we want to hear from you. At any time, you can put something in chat or in questions, and we will we'll highlight in the Q&A period some of what you are working on. Again, we have September coming up, if you can believe it. You may already have kids going back to school. So we're almost there. And our point today is really to highlight this 2 terrific events that you can participate in with FMI Foundation and with the partnership. So I'm going to move into our first poll. The poll is, do you hope to capture ideas for your September outreach today? You'll have to give me a moment to launch it. And we'll just keep this poll open for a few minutes. We'd love you all to respond. Did you come to today's event hoping to get some programming ideas and messaging ideas for your September outreach? So we'll get to I'd love you all to vote, but when we get to about 80%, I'll close the poll. So please vote, and then we'll show you what the folks on the phone or on the webinar have to say about their work. All right, let's share the results. I'm showing the results are, many of you came today. Oh my gosh, 62%. So that is what we were hoping for, and I think you're going to find that we have some good stuff to share with you today. So thank you again for being here. We really appreciate your being here and all that you're doing on consumer education. So National Food Safety Education Month, just briefly, was created in 1994 by the Restaurant Association. They really want to highlight food safety education within the industry. And around the early 2000s, the Partnership for Food Safety Education began heightening awareness of home food safety in September around the Food Safety Education Month theme. We've, for several years, been creating new home food safety myths and facts for Food Safety Education Month, and you can find them on our website. Today we're doing something a little different, and Sue Borra is here to talk to you about our joint effort.
Well, thank you so much, Shelley, and I'm delighted to be here today because I think these are two terrific programs. And the fact, one fact is that people may or may not know that we share office space at FMI, so it's a great way to partner when you just work down the hall. But it's also these two programs we think have so many assets that they can share with one another that I would love that every National Family Meals Month program have a food safety component, and likewise, every time someone's doing food safety education during the month of September, let's try to focus on some family meals opportunities as well. So to give you a little background on National Family Meals Month, and when Shelley and I were introduced, you heard that I kind of wear two hats. So one of my hats is I'm the Chief Health and Wellness Officer for the Food Marketing Institute, and that's the trade association side of FMI, where we represent the nation's retailers and serve as that voice of food retail. But FMI also has a foundation, a 501c3 organization that was set up 20 years ago to do research and education on important topics that the retail industry is concerned about, as well as meeting the needs of our customers. So our foundation focuses on food safety, and that's why I believe we were one of the original partners with the Partnership for Food Safety Education way back then. Founding partner, right. As well as we also have an expanded role for nutrition and health. So that's why I'm so excited about this webinar today. It pulls all the missions of the FMI Foundation together. So back in 2015, FMI Foundation decided to launch a program to talk to American consumers about family meals and the importance of family meals. The goal of this actual activity in September is just to encourage families to enjoy one more meal each week at home with their families. And we're not just talking about dinner. People think sometimes mostly family meals are about dinner, but we're talking breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and how can we encourage more opportunities for family meals at any time of mealtime day. I'm going to share with you some data that talks about some of the proven benefits of family meals, because they do have huge, not only societal benefits, but health benefits. And we see our role as the FMI Foundation, since we're supported by the broad-based food and beverage industry with the retailers and suppliers. We're trying to encourage the food retailers and the supplier community to be out there providing solutions for family meals that they can really have their customers pick up and take and act upon. And you see that on this slide we have our National Family Meals Month website identified, nationalfamilymealsmonth.org. And this is the site for what we call leaders, if you will, the retail community, the supplier community, and community collaborators to see all the good resources. And I'll share those things with you in a little bit. But that's our website. So first of all, what do Americans feel about family meals? What are they interested in? What do they want from us? And we've partnered with the Hartman Group for many years to do some of our consumer research. And in their snapshot of all the things that are out there, they tell us that in all their research, American families do want to eat at home together more often. They definitely want to take advantage of that opportunity. And most people know the benefits, but they definitely appreciate the benefits that family meals have to offer to their families. But interestingly, and let's just focus on one of the meals, dinner, Based on the research, our FMI Trends research that Hartman conducts for us, only about half the dinners now are about family meals. And so we explore that question to say, so what is getting in the way of you having a family meal? What's your big obstacle? And I guess I kind of find this, it's understandable but interesting. The number one reason that folks are challenged to have more family meals is differing schedules. And in looking at our lifestyles today and our busy lifestyles and two-wage earner parents or two-wage earners in a family and kids going all different directions or single-parent households, all those things make it very, very difficult to get the schedules aligned. They do cite things like distractions getting in the way or not having enough time to do meal preparation or not having enough energy and feeling too tired after a long day. And they also cite differing tastes in that top 5. But by far, the differing schedules came up as number 1. So that's a good message to all of us in the industry. What can we do to help make it quick and easy and ways that they can achieve more family meals with knowing about the schedule situations? We did a collection of all the research that's out there. Hartman actually worked with us on this to look at all the consumers as well as some other research to provide a white paper on all this background. And I know many of you are interested in this type of research, and I believe this is one of the handouts that's included in your little handout area. The actual document is there for you. So hopefully you'll find this to be useful and of interest to what you do every day. So this concept of family meals, they definitely matter. And study after study proves to us that the value of family meals is there, and we keep seeing the body of evidence grow every single day. But what are some of the areas that they get involved with? Well, first of all, we know that family meals tend to fend off risky behaviors. This graph is showing you that those families who eat 3 or more meals per week, they're less likely to smoke cigarettes, less likely to do drugs, less likely to engage in alcohol consumption. So those are really positive behaviors that we can associate with families that eat more meals more often together. Another real positive is the emotional balance concept. Children who grow up sharing family meals are more likely to exhibit pro-social, positive behaviors as adults, such as things like being good sharers, fairness, respect. Those types of elements they've been shown to document in this type of research. Family meals help improve grades, and this is really positive, is that regular family meals are linked to higher grades and higher self-esteem among children. So it has nothing but positives as you look at some of the data and research, and there's lots of bibliography out there on this type of thing. As a registered dietitian, I think the thing I'm most excited about is that there is very strong data that shows that when family meals result in better eating habits, the diets of those who have more family meals overall are better diet quality. Here's one example, that those who eat 3 or more meals per week together have a 24% increase in healthy food consumption. What this tells me, and which is a great asset of this, is that as a dietitian, I have to go and say, okay, eat at home, eat a meal, make sure it's healthy. We can send messages of just have more family meals, and by nature of them doing it, they actually become more healthy. So we can simplify the message a little bit that way. Even though we know we want them to be more healthy, we don't have to hit upon it as hard as we might think. So what we believe we have here is a real social movement. We have, good data to show that family meals are important to our society. We have our consumers saying they want to have more family meals, but they're challenged to get to that point. So I think the more that we do to make it a real strong societal movement to encourage and help people get more family meals and definitely provide those solutions. Now, this piece of data I'd like to share because I think this tells a story of why retailers are in an excellent opportunity to be a helper in achieving family meals. We asked a question in our supermarket trends research that says, so when you think about your own health and your family's health, what groups do you think are on your side when it comes to being healthy, and what groups do you think are kind of working against you to be healthy? And here's the list and the order that it comes out. So you can see My family, my doctor, my friends are certainly on the top, and that was what you expect. Interestingly, farmers came up fourth, followed by fitness and health clubs. But my primary food store came up, was that number 6 on the list? So very, very high on that list, which means they feel really confident that the retailer is trying to help them in achieving a healthy lifestyle. And so I think being a partner on family meals makes total sense. And then when we talk to our food retail executives, because FMI is made up of all these retail food companies, we talk to them every year about what's important and what are they doing in terms of their plans for business in the coming year. And 3/4 of the retail executives in our speaker survey said they use solutions for family meals, looking at across the board, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as a competitive advantage. So they're putting this into their business mix to say, how can I compete on family meals, which only will help in terms of having consumers achieve more family meals. And then another fact that we got out of our research this year, that almost all the retailers who are familiar with National Family Meals Month say they participate in the event. So our goal is to make sure not one person is able to say, I don't know about National Family Meals Month. Even though we're only in 2017 is year 3. I keep doing which one wrong year. 2017 is only year 3, so we're really, really only in the beginning of this. So we think we have huge opportunities to really build this out and make it a true national movement. So to get to the resources, this is our webpage, the homepage for the FamilyMealsMonth.com. I think we showed it just a little different URL earlier, but this is where you find it's chock full of information that you can use with your own organization or even with things that you might do for the clients and consumers that you serve. But we have a toolkit for retailers, a toolkit for manufacturers, and these toolkits have everything like logos and graphics and messaging and non-branded websites you can go to, and all kinds of tools that you can use to make family meals become real in your organization. One of the things that we're most proud of is we have just released a guide to best practices. This was a compilation of all the incredible ways that, especially the retail community, implemented National Family Meals Month last September. We had tons of great examples, so we were able to collect the stories and put them into this document. So it shows all kinds of successful in-store programming, there was a ton of in-store programming last year, and then lots of omni-channel family meals promotions using all the vehicles that a retailer has at its disposal to talk about family meals during September. You'll see examples of innovative social and digital media campaigns that were employed. And then one thing that I think is really a good point about family meals, National Family Meals Month, it's a huge opportunity to involve your employee and your employees and associates wherever you work. And in fact, at FMI, it's a huge priority for all our FMI employees to understand National Family Meals Month, and we do all kinds of contests and cook-offs and all types of things to encourage family meals, even among our own employees at FMI. So that's another way to implement family meals that might be easier to do sometimes than what you're doing in the community. So it's another good audience to not forget about. And then because this is, a national movement and we want to make sure consumers have access to some resources out there, we do have a consumer-facing website. This website is designed more for consumer use and information, but our goal is not to have FMI Foundation become a household name. We want them to go to their local supermarket or contact their favorite supplier of a product. That's where we want the relationship between the consumer and the industry to be on this concept of family meals. So with that, you can see that the FMI Foundation is dedicated to making sure we get the message out of why family meals are important. That's our educational goal, and to make sure there's good information and research and tools to say why it's important, and then to encourage the industry to get involved. So that's why I'm so excited about what we're working on right now with the partnership, is that I see the partnership as being part of our HOW group, our solutions group. And so the way Shelley is supporting the work that we're doing this year is by promoting 4 easy recipes that do a great job of including food safety instructions that will really help support people preparing safe and healthy family meals at home. And we think this concept, if you leave this webinar with just one thing, one of our big encouragement as we're promoting Family Meals Month, do not forget that this is a huge opportunity to insert in your instructions about family meals how to keep them safe. And the more they're in the menu and the recipes, I think the better they'll work out in the long run. So let me turn it back to you, Shelley, to tell them what you're planning.
Okay, and Sue, a little bit in response to Sue's comments is when she talks about industry and the benefits, when you see the research behind encouraging more family meals, I think if you work in public health or if you're a dietitian or work with any variety of clients, you can see that some of your objectives in improving the health of consumers are the same. And so you could partner with a retailer or you can take this up on your own because of this powerful results. And what we want to do as a partnership is make sure that food safety gets included, and Sue is interested in doing that too. So hopefully this raises with you some ideas. I want to remind you we will have a Q&A period, so now's a great time to get your question in the queue. So we're going to talk about best resources here for you guys to get involved in this messaging and in combining food safety and family meals as your theme for September. We've got some key messages to share with you. We've simplified that for you. We've got the recipes Sue referred to. Again, if you look at your handouts, you'll see those recipes, a PDF. There's some great infographics through Sue's website, the Family Meals website, and an article template and social media posts we created just for backfighters that are here in our handouts and are also at the fightback.org website under our Food Safety Education section under Food Safety Education Month. So let's get going here. Key messages. Back to school is a great time to commit families to thinking about preparing an additional meal at home per week. These recipes that we're providing with food safety instructions are a great way to support your commitment to family meals. You're giving them a simple recipe and you're saying, here's a recipe and with food safety instructions. And we support your family to make shared meals at home fun, affordable, safe, and healthy. Again, meeting many public health goals for families around nutrition, food safety, powerful other outcomes for young people. You'll find the recipes with food safety steps built in. These are the 4 recipes. Again, they're quite simple, and they include food safety instructions. I broke one of these recipes out for you so you can see how it includes instructions. Certainly hand washing before you start, but also hand washing throughout as you handle to avoid cross-contamination after you handle raw eggs, after you handle raw meat. Cleaning your produce using a food thermometer and including the end point cooking temperature, which many recipes don't do. What we know is that sometimes in some foods, with chicken, for example, or poultry, consumers overcook it, and it may not turn out as tasty and delicious. So a food thermometer helps you enjoy food safely, but also, it ensures the quality of what you're making. We have another poll here. I'm going to launch it right now. I'm sorry, pulling these polls up always takes a little bit of time. This poll is, and you should see it on your screen, if you share recipes with your clients or consumers, do you currently use recipes that include food safety instructions? We're really interested in knowing this because we want to know if you all finding that you have the tools you need to do this.
What can we offer, yeah.
And maybe even if you don't, how can we help support that? So please vote so we can show you all what folks on the webinar are experiencing about recipes that include food safety instructions. Before we close the poll, I'll just say that research by Kansas State University and Tennessee State University found that the inclusion of food safety instructions improved performance of the consumers in food safety practices, and they actually appreciated it and followed it. All right, so let's take a look at what you all have to say about this. It looks like a good portion of you are using them. Some of you don't use recipes in your outreach right now, and about half maybe would appreciate some support and tools. So thank you very much for that. That's very interesting information for all of us, I think, about what we can do to support you. I mentioned infographics. You can see they have gorgeous graphics. Sue presented some of them during the webinar. Great infographics which FMI invites you all to use. These highlight the benefits of family meals, things like the impact on young people.
So, and we talked about yesterday as we were preparing for this, we'll see if we can sit down and put our brainstorm about doing one that talks about including food safety steps as you're preparing family meals that we can include with this series on our website as well as yours. So that would be, I think, a nice addition to this.
We could help even raise awareness of consumers. You should look for that in a recipe. Yeah.
Raise awareness of our colleagues and professionals.
Right, right. We have a ways to go to make that more. I want to just remind you quickly, we did include an article template. This is basically an article that you're free to take and use and add your own information about what your public health agency or cooperative extension folks are doing for Food Safety Education Month. So please grab that either off our website or off of the handouts right here. It's a Word document, cut and paste. And then social media posts. We created some social media posts, and again, it includes links, so they're ready to go and you can personalize these items. So let's talk a little bit about best practices, Sue. I think some of these came from some of your guidance. I think if people look at what you created in your best practices guide, even though it's created for retailers, they're going to find some practices they might use in their agency. I think partnering with a local food retailer is always a great thing, and many of you in public health and cooperative extension already do that. Just know that if you went to them and say, hey, let's work on family meals, hopefully they'll know, they'll probably know what you're talking about.
Even if we're a little close to the time this year, this is always a great time to be thinking about what you might do for 2018 as you get to know these things. So I just think that the more surround sound we put around this, so if the local retailer is doing something, if the public health department comes, in fact, last year I think the state of Utah's health department declared it National Family Month.
In the state.
And they actually had their lieutenant governor do a PSA about the importance of family meals. So those are other ways that that you can support it within your own realm of making it important to the key audiences that you're serving.
Yeah. That is fantastic. So there's some great examples. The hashtags are important. That helps your information get in the flow of information about family meals. FMI is fantastic about supporting others who are promoting these kinds of things. There's a lot of cool opportunities for things like audience participation, like, share a memory of your favorite family meal, or, post your photo of a family meal and use this hashtag. Who helps to prepare your family meal? So it's a real way for families to just get involved in this concept. Having meals together is very meaningful to your family, so it makes for great and authentic stories. So that user-generated content is great, and then something interactive, a contest, or the photo posting. Do you have any other ideas?
Well, this is a great example, which may trigger other ideas. Is last year, Hy-Vee is one of our companies that participate. They're a regional supermarket out of the Midwest, and as one of their activities, they did a ton of activities, but one of their activities was they encouraged their consumers to post a photo of them having a family meal and send it to their hashtag that they were using. And they were willing, for each post that came through, they were willing to donate $1 to Meals for the Heartland, which is a local group of local hunger group that they support, and they were going to do it up to $100,000. Well, not only did they meet the mark of 100,000 posts, actually they got 300,000 posts
wow.
from people. So people like to give back and do and enjoyed participating. So that was a great little idea of something clever you could do in your own content.
Yeah, food. You know, we have a lot of folks from food banks who follow our webinars and such.
Yes,
Bank's another
exactly.
great partner because the retailers really support
them
those
as well.
programs.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got another poll. I don't think that's
No,
what it is.
Right.
So I'm going to launch our last poll, all right? And it's, what do you plan to do for September promotion? Do you have some things in mind? Curious to know if you have your plan in place, what your topic is. Is what we raised today something that has you considering modifying your ideas or launching some new ideas?
So they may be thinking about it.
Yeah, we'll keep this open till we get to about 80%. So please, if you're on the webinar, participate in the poll. This kind of exchange is a lot of fun for everybody to see what other people are planning. And also, we'll get into our Q&A really shortly. So I'm sure many of you have questions about this, or remember, Sue and I like to hear your ideas, because when we hear your ideas, we know better what to do next year to support you. Okay, we're going to close this poll about what you plan to do for September, and I'll share that with you. 44% of you say you plan to promote both Food Safety Education Month and Family Meals. And many of you, 33%, are planning to participate in National Food Safety Education Month. I know there's a lot of you who have a long history of really ratcheting up your outreach. So thank you for that. And I'm going to go into our questions now. And hopefully we've got some here. Got that. I want to make it bigger. Okay. Well, I'll start with a few comments, and then there'll probably be some questions in here. We've got a comment. The asker is not listed. It's anonymous. Family and Consumer Sciences celebrates Dine-In Day on December 3rd. This is the third national campaign. My students and families do a remarkable job in celebrating this day. Your resources will be a nice addition.
Excellent. Yes, we're aware of that event and have supported in the past. So we should probably continue to explore what those opportunities are. So thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah. Are the toolkit resources in Spanish? I love it. I want to do everything in Spanish and English. It's not always possible. The partnership produced just these recipes, and they are not in Spanish. Sue can speak to other.
We have that on our list, and I'm not sure we're going to make that for this year, but that's definitely on our list for the future. Once again, I'll remind us we're only in year 3, so we've put that high on our radar screen, and hopefully by year 4 we'll have that available to you.
Okay, thank you, Deb, for mentioning or asking that. Julie says, I write a weekly newspaper article on food safety, and I'll use the materials.
Oh, excellent. That's a great idea, great use of that.
Yeah.
Surround sound.
You know, part of what I love about this, too, we always want nutrition and food safety together, because what's the point of healthy eating if really food safety is not practiced?
Exactly.
So thank you, Julie, for that. Mindy says, we would participate in Family Meals Month if there was a direct tie to the food safety aspect of it. A combined infographic sounds great.
Okay.
Yeah, as Sue said, we're committing to working on this together. I think it serves our public health and preventive health professionals very well. Trevor. Hi, Trevor. I know you. You said we received free seasonal children's food magazine that contains easy recipes for families to make together. Unfortunately, a lot of the recipes do not offer food safety tips. Is there a best way to bring this up to the magazine company? We brought this up to the company before. They didn't seem to think it was important to add. Well, Trevor, you know that if, particularly if young children are in the home, that food safety is really important.
That's the goal of what we're doing here, is to try to keep elevating the importance of including food safety in recipes. I think that's a message that not many people have heard.
Yeah.
And so I think the more that we can impress upon it and tie it in, and that's why we looked at the opportunity to tie it into Family Meals Month when you're actually giving people tools and tips to make more family meals. How can we make sure it's part of all of those? Mm-hmm. So once again, I think we're starting that process, and we should investigate if there's other tools and resources we can use to be more of a megaphone to the recipe developers as well.
Well, and people like Trevor can be that too.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
Through the feedback you gave the magazine. Mm-hmm. I do like that idea that maybe we should prepare some guidelines, because I think a big issue is I'm sure sometimes people aren't aware that, say, young children are at significant risk. And it would be a good service for parent magazines to have that awareness. Kathy says, keep up the good work of developing the recipes. Sandra says, food safety is often violated during transporting, even for family meals, to suggest some limited info on safe transportation practices safely. Yeah. We have something we call Food Safety on the Move, which is a great flyer that's on this topic. I think because you're talking about family meals at home, I guess you'll have to do picnics one year.
We'll have a picnic theme and then put it there.
All right. Trying to keep up. Thank you for submitting the questions. I've been working with the Chilled Foods Association of the UK to integrate food safety into STEM education programs in public schools.
Oh, good.
They've created an award-winning game, and we are expanding it this year in the UK.
Perfect.
That's something a lot of folks in the US have tried too, really. And we, this month, are launching a curriculum called Hands-On. It's actually not a new curriculum, but it's something new to the partnership. And it's a middle school STEM, so more on that later. Sue might have some thoughts on this. Roberta says, I teach children 2nd to 5th grade. Many are overweight or obese. I would like to see your recipes remove butter and replace with healthy oils, factor in cost-saving substitutes, increase vegetables, and storage recycling of leftovers. Yes, thanks for your hard work. Roberta, that's really good input. And I think we want to look at some of one of the things we talked about is there's some publicly available recipes that we, the partnership, would like to work with, things through the
USDA and SNAP and FNF and all that, yes.
The nutrition programs, they tend to be healthy and low cost and easy.
Yep, and that's a great place to start to get some, and those recipes are widely available for everybody to use, right?
Yes.
Yes, publicly available.
I don't want to put you on the spot. You probably have in front of you these. Kelly asked, will you share statistics concerning positive health and welfare of eating 3 or more meals at home? You mentioned some of those earlier.
Yes, so we have, that's something I believe we have on our website within these toolkits, the references for that. So it's definitely something, or if you don't find what you need, just shoot us an email through the website and we'll help you out. Okay.
Deborah asks, are family meals materials easy to share through Facebook and other social media? Let me start with what we developed at the partnership, which are these recipes. If you go to our website at fightback.org, Food Safety Education Month, if you hover over each recipe, there's social buttons right there. So you can easily share the recipes. And Sue, why don't you talk to social media.
I might call on Tom to say, within the context of the toolkits, isn't that where we have all that lined up?
That's correct. So if you go to fmifamilymeals.com and click on toolkits in the top corner, you'll notice that there's a retailer and a supplier toolkit. Once you go into there, there's a new menu that'll pop up, and it'll literally say on the left-hand side, infographics. If you click on that, that will take you directly to the 5 infographics that you saw earlier in this presentation.
Yeah, they're really well done. Yeah. Someone asked if I'd repeat the middle school curriculum. Andrea asked, because she works with SNAP-Ed. So fightback.org has an entire section for kids. And under that, you're going to see 2 pages. You'll find hands-on is the name of the curriculum. It's all free, and it's linked to the state standards by state. You can order it through its store function, but it's free. You put it in your shopping cart. And then we have another page just full of curriculum at fightback.org for kids. So check that out. You'll find lots of stuff. Cynthia mentioned something called Totally Veggies through Pennsylvania Extension to increase more veggies into family meals. Jennifer says that on the Food Network, she's hearing that protein should be at room temperature before grilling. I would probably not agree with that, because somebody might decide putting it out all day to get it to room temperature is a good idea. How do you do this safely is a big concern, never mentioned. My students believe everything they see and hear. Well, I'd say the 2-hour rule is important. Food should not be left out for more than 2 hours. So Food Network, you know, a lot of folks in food safety are reaching out to them. So I'm looking for any other questions or comments. Yeah. Again, if you share what you are working on, you know, this is really interesting. Michelle talks about reaching out to the meal delivery kit business. Things like HelloFresh and Blue Apron that probably compete with the retailers.
Well, they're food retailers themselves. So yeah. We're interested in safe and healthy food, you know, from all retail sectors. So, and once again, I think this is it's how do we make, when somebody's doing a recipe, having food safety directions be a norm in that. I think that's what we need to come to, is that it becomes an accepted norm. It's not something different. It's not something unique. How do we put that together? So that's why I'm excited about this as a first step to say the people who are talking about meals and recipes and the people who are talking about food safety, how can we continue to collaborate? And what are the, you know, are there 5 simple tips, which you and I were talking about yesterday, to including food safety information in your recipe? You know, what's kind of that trigger? Because anybody who's done recipe development knows there's different ways that you need to talk about these things. How do we make that part of the package?
So we, through a minor glitch, don't have my slide that talked about the research behind the inclusion of recipes. So I'll just encourage you, if you're on the webinar, and we'll promote this also in the post-webinar email. We did a webinar in September 2016 called Recipe Redo. Kansas State and Tennessee State did observational research of people preparing 2 different foods, and these weren't super simple. These were things like burgers, things that required food thermometer use. What they found was that if the recipe included the food safety steps, people complied with them and did them. They read the recipe and literally just treated it as a next step in the recipe. Also, there was some concern that consumers would say, oh, that's repetitive. You told me to wash my hands 3 times. They actually were like, no, that's great. You told me step by step what I should do. And So this research really pointed to the fact that particularly for hand washing after handling raw ingredients, which we know is an issue, people are not always washing their hands, even after handling things like raw meat and poultry.
Yes.
So that just goes to why this recipe inclusion is so important. We're just going to take a couple more comments and questions. Will a copy of today's slides be made available? The webinar will be made available, and I can make available the set of slides. Arlene says that to promote family meals, we have family members bring in family pictures and occasionally have a member of the family join us for a meal whenever possible.
Great idea.
A lot of stuff here. It's great. Do you plan to promote a recipe template for food safety directions? So all of us are using the same directions, says Carol Schwartz. There was a recipe generator or food safety generator put out by USDA. The problem is it's, you know, they're all very variable. What I would refer you to, if you want to develop your own, is the Fight Back Basic Brochure. That's like the little mini Bible of safe food handling messages and how to say them. Simple and complete. And, you know, again, I think Sue's interested in part because so many retailers develop recipes.
Or use recipes from a variety of sources. So, but I think that's a really good point of, you know, just like there's common language and, you know, how do you beat egg whites to, you know, a stiff peak or things like that. Maybe there's some things that could be maybe standardized and offered so that it becomes part of that discussion and dialogue.
Yeah.
You should probably say it in a similar way, or just so it becomes second nature and easy for the recipe developers to get it in as well. Because I think that's the key here is when you're making food, that's the point at which you need to know the instruction. When the brochure is over here that says, here's this helpful tip of when you're handling raw food, but you're not looking at that point in time, there's no connection between the two. So I think the more that we can do to keep these working together, I think the better off we'll be.
So we now have our Don't Wing It campaign has recipes. We've done these recipes. You'll see more of that from us. Okay, I would like to share something. Okay.
That's a sad story.
Yeah, someone just shared a story about preparing a turkey and having people get food poisoning at home. I think since 1 in 6 people get a foodborne illness every year, all of us either have had one ourselves. I know I have. I think 3 times, 3 times. I've overdone my share, but that's a good way I think to bring our webinar to a close. Is just a reminder that foodborne illness can be very serious. It can lead to hospitalizations. It can even lead to death. There are things that can be done. We encourage you all to think about how recipes and sharing concepts about cooking at home.
Food preparation is the best to insert it right then. So to leave it on a high note is that I think all of us that are working to encourage more family meals, which means people are handling the food at home, and the more that we can get right into that preparation information, what they need to do to keep the food safe. And you don't even have to say the word safety, by the way. You can just say, just wash your hands, and you can say, use a clean cutting board. Just simple instructions. They don't need to know all the technical. I just think that's going to be the best way to get these important messages across in the time and place when they really, really need them.
Yeah.
So great opportunities for the future.
Great opportunities. So you can always follow. We do have more slides to go through.
Oh, yeah.
So here's how to get a hold of me and Sue. We love ideas. I love just doing what we do better because we can always improve, and we learn how to do better by hearing from you. So that's how you can get a hold of Sue Borra, Shelley Feist.
We're really encouraged by the number of you that said you were going to do something for this year. So
Yeah.
we hope you'll be able to share your stories with us.
Definitely.
Email us or go on the website. And one of the things that, just to add to it, is we give out awards for the best in-family meal activities.
Right.
It's called the Gold Plate Award, and after September, we'll be encouraging people to submit their programs. So anybody in the hood, if you do something, we award them to retailers, suppliers, and community collaborators. So share your story, and we would love to tell the great things that you've done and possibly even be an award-winning program.
That is great. So if you're collaborating on family meals this year, look at Gold Plate Award.
Yep, they can even do something in their own community. They don't have to work with a retailer necessarily. They can do something on their own, and we would
You can apply for the award. Okay. Our next webinar, we're going to do something super fun again, is the Story of Your Dinner. I love this campaign for the holiday season, so watch for that. Stay connected to us. We're on social media, and many of you share our posts. Many of you get our weekly emails. That is the best way to find out what events we're doing. Our events are free, and we want to support you. Fightback.org, chock full of free downloads, everything for kindergarten education all the way through to senior citizens and the importance of food safety to those groups. We thank our community connectors for their support. These are donors that expressly want to show that they support the work we're doing for backfighters across the country. Our backfighters are in all kinds of organizations, and they want to make sure you're getting programming support, free downloads. So we thank these donors, and we thank the partnership's core sponsoring partners for their support: Cargill, the Produce Marketing Association, the FMI Foundation, the GMA Science and Education Foundation, and NSF International. Thank you, and once we close the webinar, there'll be a survey. Please take that, because your input helps us improve everything we're doing. So thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you in October. If not, let's see you sooner on social media.
Perfect.
Thanks, Sue.
Thank you. Thank you, Shelley.